Hi my friends, how are you today? Aaron here. Hopefully you can hear me okay. It's been a while since I've done one of these on the road, doing a little bit of traveling right now in gorgeous Georgia. Anyway, we're going to talk about this new moon in Leo happening on the 26th or early in the morning on the 27th, depending on where you're at in the world. It's going to be at 4 degrees in the sign of Virgo. Now, new moons are new beginnings. The moon is our emotional needs. The sun, representation of self, the operating system behind the computer itself, yeah? So, Virgo is about making decisions. It's the sign associated with doing work, our place of services. And Virgo, the Virgin, of course, meaning not owned by someone, not owned by anyone. You are a sovereign being, able to make your own decisions. Nobody can judge you on your decisions. It's up to you that judges oneself. Now we have Mercury in the sign of Libra, so our minds create our own judgment here. And it's saying yes to this, no to this, yes to this, no to this, yes to this, yes to this, no, 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 yes, yes, yes. And those decisions that we make, that we're saying yes or no to, this Virgo energy, determines the balancing scales of Libra, how things balance each other out. So it's up to us at what we're saying yes to or what we're saying no to that determines if our heart is going to weigh lighter than the feather on our own judgment day. I like to think again about the Egyptians that say in their commandments, if you will, for referring to like Christianity or this theology, I have not lied, I have not cheated, I have not stolen. In the Christian world, it's thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not. So you have an outside source, an outside force telling you what you can and can't do, otherwise a judgment will be created upon you, and that's your karma at the end of your life cycle. Well, this is not necessarily so. It's up to you to make the right decisions or follow that path into doing whatever it is that you're feeling called to do, and trying to make the right discernment with our own mind. Again, Mercury in the sign of Libra, making the best judgments that we can so that the decisions that we're making, we can feel good about what we're saying yes to and feel good about what we're saying no to. And it's important too that if we make a decision, whatever that decision is that we've made, even if we're listening to somebody else's advice, it's us that has chosen to make that decision. It's us that's chosen to either listen to their advice or to ignore their advice. This is extremely important in this new moon, especially as we have a lot of individuals right now that are seeking out or offering guidance or offering perspective. So it's a way of saying, like, if somebody has given me advice and I've taken the advice and the advice has worked out to my advantage, oh wonderful, thank you. If someone has given me advice and the advice, I take the advice and the advice did not work out to my advantage, it's not about blaming the other individual. At the end of the day, it's about taking self-accountability and self-responsibility for the decisions that we have made. It was in our best interest to listen to somebody else's advice, even if it was going against our own intuition. Now, this is extremely important as well. It's up to you, it's up to the individual. And if we chose to take someone's advice over listening to ourselves, well, that's part of our lesson, that's a part of our learning, that's a part of our own quantum entanglement, if you will. With Venus being in the sign of Leo, this is very much being about love of oneself, passionate about oneself, passionate about who you are, what you're doing in this world, and of course, again, about acts of service. And what are we doing with our ego, our mind, our ability to discern the differences of this right or wrong, up or down, left or right. What do we want to do for a career? What do we want to do, and how we want to give back to those people in our community. So it's taking the outside, so one, Mars, which we're going to talk about more in a second here, is in Gemini. It's going to retrograde in Gemini. It's going to be there for about 6 months. Venus is in the sign of Leo. Mercury is in the sign of Libra. So besides Mercury, a lot of our planets are in the first 6 houses, meaning it's about self. So coming back to self, again, this is a time for renewal. And it doesn't matter if someone says, oh, you should do this or you shouldn't do this. Or I'll be disappointed in you if you choose to take this path, this career path, or these choices. In a certain sense, we can listen to their advice, but it's up to us, again, to feel this Venus and Leo energy, our path, our destiny, to feel excited about ourselves. There's a story about an art critic walking up to an artist. I love this story. An art critic walks up to an artist at their own gallery showing, and the critic says to the artist, "Would you like to hear my critique? Would you like to hear my review?" And the artist says, "Sure." And the art critic says, "It's worthless." And the artist says, "I know, but I'll still listen to it anyway." What other people have to say is, debatably, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because it's about how you feel about it. It's a creative interpretation of this world that we get to express. And we get to express our joys, we get to express our passions. And where we came from this last one, when I talked to you here about this, the full moon here in Aquarius. And it's about, if you followed along, like too many people are seeking guidance from coaches, astrologers, tarot readers, acting coaches. We kind of talked about this acting coach thing. Sorry, this camera's kind of shaky here. I'm trying to keep it as stable as I can. But it's not following it's like following their own passions, but getting frustrated along the way because they're trying to make it into a cookie cutter. This formula, trying to feed us a formula of what worked for somebody else is going to work for you. And if you follow my 10-step guidelines of success, then you're going to be a happy, healthy, abundant human being. Well, we have Uranus as well in the sign of Taurus, rebellious Uranus, that's saying go against the grain. You create your own rules. You create your own idea of reality. You create your own life, essence of what life is. And Venus and Leo is saying be excited about this life. Be excited about who you are in this body. The spirits wish they could have, a body like yours and this opportunity to live in this world as we do here right now. So it's kind of taking a look at that and being appreciative. So this new moon in Virgo, what we're saying yes to, what we're saying no to, about being a human being of service. Even if you are filthy rich, if your bloodline is filthy rich, unless you're doing something with your day-to-day, unless you're doing something with your time, we as a human, we're miserable. Being rich and living off of little cocktails with frilly straws and like the little umbrella hats, every day of our lives, it's boring. We have to be of service to humanity. We have to be of service. So it's finding what are we passionate about and moving forward in that direction. Now, don't get discouraged because this new moon, this new beginning at 4 degrees of Virgo is square to Mars at 4 degrees of Gemini. This is a very powerful placement. It's a very powerful square for this new moon. And what this is saying is you don't have to have it all figured out right now. Now Mars in Gemini, it's if you've been following this channel, every time we've had Mars in Gemini, we talk about it. It's like MC Escher's crazy stairs. It's going up this door, it's going up this staircase and coming out this bottom one, or it's like Tom and Jerry, going through these doors and what I'm talking about. Crazy stairs, Tom and Jerry, going through all the doors, or not Tom and Jerry, think of, Scooby-Doo, did it all the time, and the ghost would go in this door, and then they'd go in that door, and then the ghost would pop out of a different door. So it's like this house of mirrors, if you will, with Mars and Gemini. We don't really know what's going on. We don't know what's around the bend. We don't know what the next step is for us. We might not have a clear-cut answer on really where we're trying to go. So we have this energy of this new beginning saying, make decisions, a new way to make decisions, a new way to look at yourself, a new way to look at your passions and making your passions into a career by chance, which is a privilege if we can do that here in this world, in our lifetimes. Maybe it's a side hustle. Maybe it's starting a YouTube channel. Maybe it's starting a new business, okay? There's a lot of that energy going on right now that's very powerful. But we don't have to have every step of the way figured out. We're gonna hit bumps along the road. We're gonna have hurdles that come along the road. It's impossible. Even if we see the top of the staircase, even if we see the top of the mountain, we don't know what kind of challenges are going to present themselves until we begin our journey up that hill, up that mountain, until we begin our journey down that road, whatever it may be. So we're also in a mutable sign. Mars is an immutable sign of Gemini. The new moon, sun-moon conjunction is in a mutable sign, Virgo. So the Virgo energy is like the flowers that bloom every year, and they wither and die. It's the trees that grow really hard, that bloom or create their new leaves, and then come autumn time, those leaves fall. And the tree's energy goes inward and dies, or seemingly dies during the autumn and winter season until springtime again, when it shows sign of new life. So the mutable energy is about going with the change, and it's not afraid to go with the change, and not afraid to go through, the curveballs of life. And so if we're a fixed sign, if you have a lot of fixed energy right now in your chart, it's okay. We can't have everything planned out, this particular energy might be slightly more challenging. But we can't have everything just figured out. We can't say this is how it's going to go. In a perfect world, when people say those expressions, in a perfect world, well, that's not what this new moon energy is about. That's not what Mars and Gemini is all about. And Mars is our planet of action. And we have desires, an emotional need to be of service, an emotional need to perhaps start a business, or emotional need to start something. And depending on where Virgo is in your chart, we're going to start something up. But we might not know the steps that are necessary to get there. So this is when we now ask and seek out help of professionals that perhaps have done this and been on this path beforehand. I created a little company. I'm excited. As soon as I get home from my journeys here, I'll share a little bit more with you about it. I'm not super great at graphic design. I can dabble in the arts, but I had to hire a graphics design artist to help me out. I'm not the best at marketing, so I have to seek out somebody that's a marketer. I didn't create the website on my own, so I had to seek out somebody else. If you're interested, the product is called, check out www.bepure.gold. Okay, very excited. It's a bunch of plants from the Amazon, including pure ayahuasca. There's no DMT, there's no chacruna in this, but they're medicinal plants, basically, in plant extract form. So if you're curious about it, check it out, bepure.gold. Anyway, I needed a lot of help along this journey of starting something new, so I had to reach out to other people that were more skilled than I am, and more knowledgeable at those things than I am. I had to make the discernment, Mercury in Libra, make the judgment. Who do I want to hire for this? Who do I want to seek out? And then ultimately, the web designer, the graphics designer that created the labels and the bottles, they had their own concepts and ideas of what my product should look like. At the end of the day, it's my product, and I'm responsible for its presentation to the world. So they might have had their own ideas, and it was up to me to steer it back, but also listen to their advice as they're professionals in their environment as well. That's a lot of how this new moon energy is all about. and not getting upset again when something I ordered, just because it's so relevant. I ordered 6,700 labels. I finally got the label design that I wanted down. I finally got something that I liked. I looked at these labels hundreds of times with the designer, and then there was some spelling errors at the end of the day. And I ordered over almost 7,000 of these things, and there's like this little spelling error. And it's just like, okay, that stuff's gonna happen. And to not be so frustrated and judgmental on oneself, our own mind. It's just like, it's okay when these things happen. It's okay, and to go with the flow. We're all learning, and it's okay to learn. It's okay to start something new. It's okay to fall. It's okay to fail. As long as we pick ourselves back up and continue the attempt and figuring out what we're saying yes to, what we're saying no to, and move forward. And even if we're going in circles a little bit, this Mars in Gemini, even if we're going in circles a little bit, knowing that we're still making strides, knowing that we're still one step closer than we were before. And we have to, in a sense, we have to take the steps. Even if we don't know exactly where we're going, we have to take the steps. Because being idle and doing nothing is not service to ourselves. So my friends, thank you as always for joining along with me. Hopefully the audio is okay. Hopefully the video is not too shaky for you like I'm in an earthquake. Again, much appreciation. And if you're curious, check out the website www.bepure.gold if you're interested in some wonderful Amazonian plant medicines. I love you. I wish you enough happy new mooning, and we'll see you soon, hopefully back in the studio.